The following program is a production of Naleo TV.
And aloha, welcome back. This is the second part of my Tiki painting. So on last show, we did all the primary stuff here where we got the darks, the lights, the mediums, and all that kind of stuff, get them all blended together. As I said on the last show, today what we're gonna do is we're gonna do in his teeth, and then we're gonna put some more, just some detail in there and stuff. Now that it's dry, we can do all that kind of stuff. So keep watching, and I'll show you what I'm doing. All right, so first what I want to do is I need to wet my brush a little bit. I'm going to take a little bit of black and go right in here. See, this is the opportunity where I can go back and observe what I did last time. So this, what I'm doing is I'm just putting some more black, and I'm putting it there, and I'm pulling it out to the brown, because that brown right there would actually show up as brown because there's going to be a light on it, but it's not lit and highlighted. So, and then I'm going to bring the black into this corner because you wouldn't see any light here. Just like that. See that? See how cool that looks? Nice and deep. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing up here, because this little crevice is a little deeper. So I'm going to bring that black in there just a little bit, and then I'm going to round it just a hair so that it has that shadowy look to it that I want. Now notice I put a little water on there. That water is going to help me blend it out over that dry paint. Oh yeah, see how cool that looks? And then once I get the outline in there, it's going to be even nicer. So now I got to figure out, I want to do the teeth. Let's see. What I'm going to take some white. I know, Tikis are wood, they don't have white teeth, but again, my painting, my rules. So then what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of white in here like this. Then I'm going to take my light brown with some white so I get a real nice light tan in here. And then I'm just going to go right over the top of that white. Then, because these teeth are on the other side of his mouth, we're going to go in with just a little bit of the light brown. Today I'm using my wedge brush so you can actually see that it's kind of flat and shaped like a wedge there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a little bit of dark brown and put it right under here where the shadow would be. And now I'm going to push it into the lip, if you will. Get a real nice sharp to it there. And somehow that paint got a little weird right there. So. See how I moved that paint right there? See how I brought that right into a nice line right there? Not using a liner brush, just using my normal brush. Okay, so let's check everything. That looks good, that looks good. Yep. Now comes one of my favorite parts. Yeah, I'm going to use salad dressing on the paint. Let's see. This is a lacquer thinner that I'm using for this. Now, because I put the lacquer thinner on there, I want to pull that off of my brush. That does is it sucks all that paint right into every one of the hairs. So we're going to start up here at the top. This is actually a pinstriping brush, well, outlining brush, whatever, but it's what it does. It's got really long bristles on there, and they're squirrel hair. So what they do is they hold together really nice, and they hold the paint in there, so that when I lay that down like this, I can drag it and get a really nice straight line. Now here's the trick. I use my hand as a maul stick. A maul stick is what artists use to brace themselves. So I don't really have a lot of room here to put a maul stick on here and work. So what I do is I use my hand. So I put my hand down like this when I do that, or I can do it like this. I can do it whatever I need. And when I do that, I lift my finger up, I put it on my hand, and then I put my pinky down on the canvas, and then I can set here right there. What that does is that holds me nice and steady, and I can just draw that line like this. The straighter the hairs are, the more the bristles you have in the brush, the straighter. When you use a short brush, like as in this little dude right here, if I was to try and do that, that line would get all wiggly and stuff. It's just there's no way to hold it nice and steady. With this, you use the brush as your guideline because it's so long that once you get this positioned here, if you position your brush so that it's in line with what you're pulling, and you set that down gently, and then you just follow that line. See the cool little cut lines that I put in there like that? Isn't that neat? That way it looks like it's like, what do they call it, beveled? Yeah, looks like a bevel there. And you see that there's a lot of paint on there? Let me hold this up here so you can kind of see that. See how that looks like a bubble on there? But see how it's not dripping off, it's not moving? Because this enamel paint is very thick. can probably hear my finger dragging across the canvas while I'm doing this. All pinstripers, when we do cars, trucks, motorcycles, whatever, we drag it like that, and you can hear it rubbing, especially on cars, because the finish on the car is very smooth, and we drag our hands across it and it goes. Now, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people, when they get to the end, usually pull the thing here, and it ends up with a tail. But you'll see that mine ends with a flat line like here, right? A flat edge, if you will. So when you do that, what you do is you bring that brush up like that, and while it's still on the paper, you just lift it straight up. That will prevent that from tailing off. I do this once in a while just to make sure I don't have too much paint on the tip of the brush. So. Because I'm also a pinstriper, you can see that I brought that straight line, and then I just went right around the corner like this, all in one shot. Just in the interest of time. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my actual pinstriping brush. It's got a short, stubby little handle on it. And, put some paint on it. I mean, some lacquer thinner. And we'll load the brush up. This is really fun. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put cracks in the Tiki. Now this one, unlike the other one, I want to pull it up as I drag it, because that gives me a nice point. See how that gives it that carved wood? Because tikis, if you've ever seen an actual tiki, over years, the wood tends to crack and mess up and whatever, but that gives it more character. So I put that in here. You also might notice that I don't have all the guidelines that I started out with on this, because I know where they go, so I'm just freehanding them. Put that away for a minute. Go back to the... This is just a matter of preference. I like the long handle when I'm doing stuff like artwork. Now see how I was able to pull that line with one shot? But one line, straight down. Sometimes the brush will just not have any paint for some reason, or it'll skip over the canvas or whatever. This paint was actually developed and specifically used for pinstriping on cars and motorcycles. Very smooth finishes, and the canvas is not that at all. The other thing, I don't know if you can see it, but when I need to get a thicker, or fill in a lot of space right there, what I do is I just push the brush down, which puts more pressure on it and lays more paint on the surface. Again, no guidelines, but look how cool that looks. All freehand. That cool? I think I need a little bit more paint. This stuff is getting really expensive, so I try not to waste it. Plus, I live in Hawaii, so, you know, everything has to get shipped over here. So last show, I did a shout out to a couple of ladies that watch my show here locally, But now I've got a shout out to do to Tracy, who lives in Brandon, Manitoba, Canada. She actually watches my show on the internet. So Tracy, if you're watching this, I'm still waiting for that turtle painting. She actually told me she was going to do that turtle painting that I did last year, and that she was going to do it better than I did. So I said, cool, send me a picture. I'm still waiting for it. See how this outline just makes all the difference in the world to this painting? Now the hard part, trying to match up where I put those other ones. It doesn't have to be perfect because, well, when people carved tikis, they didn't have a blueprint and they didn't do it perfect either, so. But I wanted to get as close as possible. So, you know, I am very conscious of where my fingers are so that I don't scrape my fingers over something I've already painted. Because this stuff stays wet for a while. It takes a while for this stuff to dry, so definitely don't want to go running my fingers through it. So if you're starting out and you're trying to do this, what I don't recommend you try and do it exactly the way I do. I would pull one line at a time, turn it around and get a good grip on where you're going with it. Pull that and repeat that until you've got all of those done. Okay, so let's put some more cracks in here. Looks like it's time for some new brushes because that's not supposed to be painted. I think I laid it down the wrong way when I finished with it last time. So that there is the completed outline. Cool, yeah? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go with the white and basically do the same thing. Except I'm not going to put the white for the cracks and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to set this down, and this is really the hard part. This takes a lot of experience to be able to follow that line and not make it thinner. On that note, that part's done. Now comes the all-important now we're done. Check that out. Now see how the tiki, even though it's brown, the background's brown, see how it stands out? It's almost like there's light on it. It looks really cool, nice and 3D. Got all them shadows and highlights, mid-tones, all that good stuff. And that's it for this show. Mahalos and ahui ho.